Good evening, everybody. Good to see you here on Bank Holiday Monday. We know it's Bank Holiday, but exams aren't going to stop. We've got Anne with us today, and we've got Laura. And how many days away did we say exams were? We were just working it out then, weren't we?
10 days.
10 days. So today you've got a few hours left today, and thanks for joining us. But after that, you've got 10 days left for your exams for paper one. I can see you talking about revision in the chat, which is great. We're going to be focusing on attachment today. We've got lots to get through, and as always, you can access our back catalogue of revision sessions, including tonight as well, after the event on YouTube. We are there to help you with your revision. So let's get cracking then. Who's kicking us off tonight?
I'm starting us off, Laura.
All right then, let's take it away, Laura. Over to you.
Okay, so the first activity today, guys, is identify the attachment types. Let's read this through together. We've got I love my mum, but I like to play with anyone, really. I couldn't care less if she was in the room or not because I could entertain myself. I do what I want, whenever I want, and I don't take orders from anyone. What's the attachment type, guys? What are we thinking here? So we've got either secure, insecure resistant, or insecure avoidant. Yeah, so a lot of you are saying insecure avoidant. Can any of you quote part of this and tell me what really sticks out to you, which makes it seem like this is an insecure avoidant child? What is it in that text which you can identify as avoidant? So really good to see all of you most of you have got the right answers. Yeah, I couldn't care less if she was in the room or not. And really good immediately with key turn and no stranger anxiety and no separation anxiety really as well. Yep, really, really good. Well done for noticing that in the STEM, guys. Well done. Let's have a look at the next one then. So we've got another one. We've got I like being around my mum all the time. I love her so much. I never want to leave her side. I cry buckets when she leaves me alone, even for just a second, and I never like to play with anyone but her. It annoys me when she tries to make me play with someone else, and I get cross with her when she eventually comes back. Yeah, we've got quite a few insecure, resistant answers coming out. Again, can I ask the same question, guys? What is it in this STEM which really emphasises the fact that this is insecure, resistant? What is it there in that STEM which kind of really, really tells us this? Yeah, well done, George. Seek and reject. Well done. Yep, so we've got that. Never want to leave her side. Yeah, extremely high anxiety. And I think some students get secure and insecure resistant muddled. Now, secure is also upset when mum leaves, but the difference here is when mum leaves with an insecure resistant, they cry buckets. They're really, really upset, much more upset than a secure. And as George rightly said there's that seek and reject on reunion behaviour. So well done, guys. Okay, let's look at the third one then. So, read this carefully. So, I love being around my mummy. She's the best. I like to play on the floor when she is watching TV or cleaning. If other people are there, I will play with them. But I don't like it when mum leaves me alone with them. When she comes back, I'm always happy to see her. Yep, so a lot of you have identified this as secure. Can anyone give us any key terms for secure attachment in terms of, what's going on there in the STEM? What makes a secure? Yep, reunion response is happy to see her. Yep. Anything else in the STEM? Yeah, moderate separation anxiety. Well done, Anna. What about, here we've got Jess. You've put if other people, oh God, all the answers are flicking through too fast. Jess, I've lost your answer. Here we go. If other people are there, I will play with them, but I don't like it when one leaves me alone with them. Yeah, we could say strange anxiety, but we can also say that a secure base concept, don't forget that, yes, so secure attachments have this secure base concept as well, okay? Really good effort, guys, on that first round. I'll pass you over to Anne now, where we're going to look at missing vowels.
Okay, so the vowels are missing, so I want to know what each key term is. So what is this one? If you put the vowels in, what does it make? Oh, well done. I think Joanne was saying first in there, but there's loads coming out of. Yep. Interactional synchrony. Can somebody tell me what that is? That is the right answer, but can somebody tell me what interactional synchrony actually is? I think Daniela's a bit at wimp synchrony. They do it at the same time. Do what at the same time? Yeah, it's like mirroring each other. They tend to mirror what the other person is doing. They mirror the actions. So like the facial expressions or their body actions. Lovely. Okay, so if we move to the next one. Yep, I think Hannah was first in there. Okay, so well done. It's imprinting. You can kind of see that, can't you, straight away? Who studied imprinting? What person studied imprinting? And what kind of animals is it typically seen in? Yep, it was Conrad Lorenz, to give him his full title there, Professor Sad. What type of animals is it typically? Yeah, he looked at geese, didn't he? And baby goslings. Yep, well done. But it's typically seen in baby birds. You see it in ducklings as well. Okay, so let's have the next one then. No, not monkeys, Alex. It was geese and goslings. Monkeys was Harlow. Yep. Multiple attachments. And that relates to the stages of attachment, but we've got some questions on those coming up. So I won't ask an additional question there. Okay, so can we have the next one then, please? Oh, they're giving me the names anyway. Yep, Schaffer and Emerson. That was the stages of attachment. You answered questions I haven't even asked. Yeah, Mary Ainsworth. What did she devise? What's she well known for? Yeah, the strange situation procedure. Brilliant. Okay, I can see, I think a lot of revisions been going on for this topic, multi-stall model. Alex, I think we're in the right topic there. Okay, can we have the next one? Okay, so what is this one? Yes, it is rare to see female researchers, Anna. I agree. Or maybe on our specification anyway. Yep. So affectionless psychopathy. Okay. So lots of you have got that. Can you give me some of the characteristics of an affectionless psychopath? It was found by Bowlby. It was in the 44 Thieves study. So that's good. You know where to use it. But can you tell me some of the characteristics? Yep. No guilt. Yeah, lack guilt and lack empathy, only really care about themselves. Well done, Jess, there. Lovely. Lack of concern for others. Okay. I think that is the last one. So we're going over to Laura now.
Okay, guys, so this one is know the details. So if we think about attachment formation theories, of which there are two with the spec, what do the following terms mean? And the more expanded, elaborated you give me for this answer, the better. So think about, we're talking about the internal working model with regards to attachment formation theories. So give us your best answer. Yeah, good. So some of you are saying, Felicity, how your early attachments affect later attachments. Yeah, from the blueprint for future relationships. Ellie, you're saying, yeah, Yana, a mental representation of primary caregiver attachment is used in future relationships. It's a mental framework. I don't know if I've seen the word beginning with an S yet, a key term of how we might explain internal working model. Yeah, schema of relationships. Really good, guys. They've got some really good answers coming through. This is really positive. Let's have a look then at how we've linked this with attachment formation theory. So we've got the consequence. Okay, so the consequence of an attachment is that the infant will form an internal working model, which is a mental schema for relationships. All future adult relationships will be based upon this. Okay, now in terms of the internal working model, who can tell me which theory this links with? Or which researcher? We're talking about attachment formation theories. Where does the internal working model come into play with attachment formation theories? Yep, excellent, well done. So monotropy, definitely. Fedora, well done for noticing Bowlby as well, and a couple of others of you have said Bowlby as well. It's all coming through now. Yeah, really good, guys. Okay, let's look at the next one for know the details then. So we've got here, again, we're thinking about attachment formation theories. What does this term mean? Critical period. Yeah, so Rosie, you've just said 2.5 years. If you're going to elaborate on that, what would you said? Evie, you're saying 6 months. We're going to talk about both of those time periods in a moment. Yeah, well done, S. Wildu. 2.5, 2 to 3 years, and if you don't form attachment at that time, you're going to be damaged for life. That's what who said. Who said that? Yeah, Lizzie, you're saying by Bowlby. Excellent. Yeah, otherwise they're going to struggle as adults. Yeah, so Bowlby, yeah, you're quite right, guys. Bowlby did say if an attachment's not formed in that time, then the child's going to be damaged for life, physically, emotionally, socially, mentally, all of these facets, okay? So let's actually reveal what we've got for the critical period here with regards to Bowlby's attachment formation theory. So obviously babies have to, as you've rightly noticed, guys, so really well done, to form an attachment with their caregiver during a critical period. And that is between birth and 2.5 years. And most of you recognize that, which is great. But some of you also put 6 months. And I just want to iron that crease out and say, you're right with saying 6 months, but this is known as like the most optimal, most sensitive, if you like, time. 6 months is like the best time, but it can be formed up to 2.5 years. So it's just remembering that sometimes with the critical period, students say, oh, it's up to only 6 months. It's not, it's 2.5, but you're right in saying it is most sensitive at 6 months. So really good, guys, with those ages, with those time frames. So I'm going to pass you over to Anne again to do decode the question.
Yeah, one thing that we cannot stress enough, we say it in the conferences, we say it in these sessions, is that it's really, really important to read the question carefully before you start to answer it, and make sure that you've picked up on, all the kind of words in that question, and you don't just kind of look at it and then start to write your answer. So what should you spot in this question? What is the kind of word in there that students might not kind of pick up on in there? There's lots of words, but which is the word that they perhaps might not kind of notice? Well, one thing that it's monotropic theory, not the role, though, is the role. Okay, explain the role of the internal working model, because that's not quite the same as explaining what describing what the internal working model is. When we talk about the role of something, what do we mean? When we talk about the role of something, what are you being asked? Because it's not the same as what something is. What are you being asked? What is its purpose, Mia? Yeah, and Co, I think, have got that. Uma. Yeah, what does it do? What is its job? What is its function? I like that. So what is the function? What is the function of the internal working model? What is it there for? What does it do? What's its purpose? What does it help us to do later on? Yeah, how does it, what is its role in attachment? But what what does it allow us? Yes, it's this idea that it forms the blueprint. So it allows us to, to form, hopefully good relationships later on, because we have these templates then that we use to build future attachments and future relationships. So that is what its role. So be mindful of the term role. It turns up in the specification in a number of places. So can anybody tell me somewhere else, or some other places in the spec where it talks about the role of something? Nice answer there, Yana. Anybody, anywhere else in the spec? The role of the father, that I think everybody kind of remembers that. Schema. Well done, Billy. Yep, schema. Role of schemas in cognitive. Just trying to see if I missed any when they came up. We've also got the role of adrenaline in the biological. Role of conditions of worth. Role of defense mechanisms. So that I don't think it talks about the role. No, it doesn't talk about you can't be asked specifically on the role of of some of these things, but you need to look on the specification, and you should have a copy anyway, and just highlight the different places where you can be specifically asked about the role of something, because there are a number of places. And just when you've got that sort of question, make sure that you've answered it and you've not just explained what it is. Role of conditions of worth. No, humanistic approach. Okay, so let's have a look at this next question. What should you spot in this question before writing your answer? What is the key thing that you want to kind of spot there? This is a bit kind of trickier here. Well, you need to be picking out it's an economic implication. That it is only one. That's a good point, Molly. That you could end up kind of writing a list of things, but none of them would be worth more than 2 marks. So it's one economic implication. I think the thing that you're not necessarily spotting the question, but that economic, again, it's in the role of the father, which we've talked about, but economic implication, it could be a good implication, or it could be a weak implication. Can anybody have a go at answering that? Just a one liner. It doesn't need to be a 2 mark. What is one economic implication of findings of research into the role of the father? Oh, well in there, Sienna. That was quick. Yeah, if it's led to longer paternity leave, so less people in the workforce, and obviously employees have got to pay it as well. Good implication, yes, it might allow your fathers to have paternity, and mothers can go back to work a bit sooner. But it needs to be linked to economic implications rather than general implications. So make sure that it's kind of linked to finance and money in some way. Okay, that's great. Back over to Laura.
Okay, so multiple choice, guys. If you can just enter A, B, C, or D into the chat box. So we've got according to Bowlby's maternal deprivation theory. Which is the correct answer here? Okay, so we've got a bit of a mixture, some A's, some D's, some B's. Let's go with majority. Okay, so a lot of us are saying D. Okay. Yeah, we have got a bit of a varied response here, actually. So the correct answer here, according to Bowlby's maternal deprivation theory, you guys are right. Physical separation was harmful. Prior to Bowlby's maternal deprivation theory in his research, it was thought that good physical care was all that was needed. But actually, as soon as Bowlby did his research into maternal deprivation, it was found that emotional separation is actually really, really harmful. Okay, and this is what causes these long-term consequences that we see in his particular theory. Okay, so correct answer here is B. Let's have a look at the next one. So Romanian orphan studies demonstrate what out of these? A, B, C, or D? So again, some of you are saying A, some of you are saying D. Yeah, we've got a mixture, haven't we? Again, so it's a good question to go through. So yeah, so obviously, according to Bowlby, it was thought that long-term consequences would be severe and long-lasting when, you know, children are separated from their caregiver, from their mother, and they'd be long-lasting and they'd be damaged for life, as we rightly said at the start, right? However, with these Romanian orphan studies, what we need to recognise, I can see a lot more D's coming through now. What we need to recognise is quite a lot of the sample, you know, from Rutter's study and other Romanian orphan studies, actually were able to meet the control group after some time. And actually their measures were, if you like, in quotations, normal for their development. Okay, so they're actually able to kind of recuperate from these long-term consequences, if you like. So actually what we're saying here is the long-term consequences are not as actual severe as Bowlby outlined in his critical period theory. Okay, and what we're noticing here, and hopefully what you guys are noticing, is we can see that theories within the attachment topic we can use to contrast, and we can use them to counter argue other theories. So this is really good to know that this kind of topic area, Romanian orphan studies, we're saying actually Bowlby was actually wrong here. Actually, the long-term consequences aren't as severe. We do need to recognise, however, that there were some infants that did actually still have long-term consequences, but it by no means we're seeing the majority actually are able to recuperate after this when they're obviously settled in a loving, caring family with a primary attachment figure. Okay, let's look at the third one. So, which theory supports claims that contact comfort is more important than food? Okay, so again, we've got some varied answers. So we've got C, B's, A's. What else have we got? A's and C's, but yeah, we've got a big variety of answers here, which is absolutely fine. So we need to remember contact comfort, if you like, and we're coming from very much Bowlby's perspective here. Okay, so monotropic theory of attachments. Students often get the learning theory and Bowlby's monotropic theory muddled. So let's just briefly overview these. Learning theory is stating attachments form on the basis of food provision, really on who provides food, okay, positive reinforcement. Whereas Bowlby's theory is coming from an evolutionary perspective and is stating that babies are born with this innate want and need to form an attachment because it aids their survival. If we want to form an attachment as soon as we're born, we're much more likely to be fed, to be kept warm, and therefore survive. Okay. Some of you have put in Harlow's monkey study here. Yes, you're quite right. Harlow's monkey study can be used to support Bowlby's monotropic theory, and therefore it can be used to challenge the learning theory. Okay. Really good, guys, for noticing that. Well done. So let's look at the next one. The correct order for stages of attachment. So read this very carefully, guys. Let's see if we can get the right answer for this one. Okay, so a lot of us are saying B here, which is actually really reassuring to see. Well done, all of you, because B is the correct answer. Now, it's worth just noting here with the stages of attachment, and I know obviously some of you will be using different textbooks from other friends who are in different colleges or schools, and I'd just like to say there are multiple ways or stage names. And I think it's just mindful to let you guys know the alternate stage names also will be credit worthy, but you just need to make sure that you learn one way or method. Okay, so tutor to use method here, and some of the textbooks in actual fact use asocial, indiscriminate, discriminate, and then multiple. We've got other stage names such as beginnings of attachment. And Anne, what other stage names are they called? We've got beginnings of attachment.
Pre-attachment. I think
That's
asocial, pre-attachment, indiscriminate,
That's it.
beginnings of attachment. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
the main ones. Then
Yeah,
you've got
excellent.
specific or discriminate, and then multiple.
All right, let's look at the next one then. At which stage does separation anxiety and stranger anxiety develop? Okay, see. Yeah, excellent. If you were going to explain discriminate attachment as a stage, what is happening there for the child to be experiencing separation, stranger anxiety? What's happening in discriminate stage for them to be experiencing that? What happens at discriminate stage for them to have this type of anxiety? Yeah, really good, guys. So the primary attachment forms, hence why they're experiencing this separation and stranger anxiety. Yeah, really good answers coming through. Well done. Well done. Okay, we've got one more multiple choice question, then I'm going to hand you back over to Anne. So number 6, a key study into caregiver-infant interactions is what? I'm confident you're all going to get this correct. What have we got? All of the A's streaming through. Yeah, really good. Well done. So I think a couple of you put B. Shafra and Emerson, remember, is what we've just looked at, stages of attachment. Meltzer for more is our caregiver-infant interaction. Specifically, they researched interactional synchrony. So really good. Well done. Really impressed with that. So I'm going to hand you over to Anne now for Devil's Advocate.
Okay, so again, those of you who are sort of regular attenders of these will know about devil's advocate and how when you're evaluating something, it's really useful if you can present an argument and then a counter argument. So if you say something that's a strength, then you can argue back with a however in the middle and come up with something that's a limitation that's linked to it. So let's have a think if we can do a however here. So we've got a strength of Bowlby's monotropic theory is the support from Harlow's monkey study. Harlow found baby monkeys spent more time on the cloth mother, no food, than a wire mesh mother with food, illustrating how comfort and security are more important than the provision of food when forming an attachment. What do we want to carry on? Oh, yes. So, however, it's an animal study, isn't it? It's monkeys. Why might we not be able to extrapolate to humans? Yeah, they're not humans. Yeah, they are different. It could be, if you think about how baby monkeys kind of survive in the wild, they survive by clinging onto the mother, don't they? So that kind of clinging onto something soft and cuddly might just be a behavior that's adaptive in baby monkeys. Fantastic. We've got a different one here as well, but yours is great. Another kind of, however, is it does lack internal validity, the study, because the two surrogates were different. They had different faces. I always think this was like a major kind of error in Harlow's work. The cloth covered mother's face looked much more like a monkey than the wire mesh mother. They should have had the same faces. And Majdi's coming in with that. So because of that, we can't be sure whether it was actually the comfort or the familiarity of the face that caused the baby monkeys to spend more time with the cloth-coloured monkey. So we've got kind of two good howevers that you could bring in. to criticism. Yeah, it was a mistake. He was a bit silly with that one, wasn't he? Okay, let's have a look at this one then. So, a strength of Bowlby's maternal deprivation hypothesis is that it is supported by research. His 44 Thieves study found a correlation between maternal deprivation and delinquent behaviour and the development of affectionless psychopathy. What's the however? Oh, you've got some good ones here. All of these could be built up, couldn't they? No cause and effect because it's a correlation. Researcher bias. We had another one up there that was a good one as well. They just disappear too quickly. Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, it was both of them are in here. It's the privation one as well. So yeah, correlational research doesn't determine cause and effect between maternal deprivation and difficulties. And also, Rutter claimed that the delinquents were more likely to have been affected by material deprivation rather than maternal deprivation. I mean, they were deprived of, they were deprived of all sorts of things, weren't they? Not just their mothers. I mean, the chances were, somebody talked about privation, they hadn't formed an attachment in the first place. And then you've got the researcher bias as well. That Bowlby knew which of the delinquents, had been maternally deprived, which he shouldn't have done. He shouldn't have been making the assessment. So there's all sorts of issues there.
Gosh, we had loads coming through then, didn't we? Everyone's on fire tonight.
They are. There's some really good answers.
Fantastic.
Yeah. We've had a couple of questions there as well. I thought you might just want to answer while we wrap up. I can see everyone's really on the ball with revision. Before we answer the last two questions, just to let you know, as I said at the start, you can watch this again. You've got access to the comments. We've put loads of links to revision notes in the chat as we've been going through as different topics have come up, so you can access them as well. You've got about 10 days till your exam. We're back again with psychopathology revision on Monday the 13th of May. However, we're also back on Wednesday the 15th of May, where we do our infamous exam clinic, where we just sit here and we answer every single question that you can possibly put in the chat. So to give you a little taste of that, we've got two questions that have come through. Sarah asked us right at the beginning, so as briefly but as useful as you can, how many past papers do you reckon students should be doing round about now with 10 days to go? And what do you think?
I don't know.
There's no specific number, is there?
What other subjects? You can't really put a number on it, can you? Obviously, the more exam practice and the more practice with exam questions you can do, the better. But, so to be doing whole answers and then who's going to mark them?
Yeah. That's the thing with exam papers. The more you do...
many papers.
True. But the more you do, the better...
I was just going to say, there aren't that many papers. And to be honest with you, your teachers probably would have given you a mock from previous papers. So actually, there's probably not that many that you would need to complete to make sure that you've been exposed to all the previous questions. So I would attempt to be exposed to as many exam questions as you can before the real exam. There's only so many questions AQA can ask on a particular topic, so why not expose yourself to more of that?
Especially on weak areas. If you know that you're weak on particular areas, that would be good to really look at some questions there.
And of course, as many as you do is great. Like Anne said, reflect on what you need to develop on. Your teachers will have told you as well. However, they're not as effective unless you are checking mark schemes. Check that what you're doing is right. You might think it's great, you wrote loads, but you've got to check the mark schemes. You can't use past papers without mark schemes, so make sure you're using them appropriately. But it's great that you are looking into that. Okay, and Laura, one more question before we sign off. Somebody asked, when we were doing the multiple choice questions, can you briefly describe the difference between Bowlby's monotropic attachment theory and Bowlby's maternal deprivation? It's a common pitfall for everybody.
It is really a common pitfall in the exam, and it's to say that Bowlby's monotropic, just remember the word monotropy, is to do with attachment formation. So he's explaining here with this theory how an attachment is formed. It's completely different from explaining what goes wrong or what happens when a child is maternally deprived, which includes, just to be clear, the maternal deprivation theory can be divided into 3 factors: maternal separation, critical period, and long-term consequences. Bowlby's monotropic theory has 5 factors: adaptive, social releases, critical period, monotropy, internal working model as the key aspects or words for that theory. Okay, so try not to get those two muddled. The other place where we find students getting muddled is saying Bowlby's learning theory, which obviously makes no sense because the learning theory is the opposite, if you like, to Bowlby's monotropic theory. So just make sure you've got that really clear.
Yeah, and we can address all of these things again in our exam clinic next week. Finally, we've seen some comments there just about predicting questions, and I'll let Laura answer this.
Absolutely not. Don't ask the question. Don't ask it in the exam clinic. Don't ask your teachers. AQA, you cannot predict AQA, and AQA are renowned for, if there was a previous exam series and a question wasn't answered very well, there's nothing stopping them from asking the same question, we've seen it, until we get it right, or you guys get it right, or we get it right teaching it, okay? So you cannot predict it. So please don't even think about looking at last year's paper and going, oh, they've asked that, so I'm just not going to revise it. Don't do that to yourself. Revise everything.
You have been warned.
It's always on. It's always on. They know it's out.
Exactly. We always say, don't we, think about what's going to make you cry in the exam and start there. That's your best place to start. And on that note, we will leave you there. A great session with everybody. Thanks for all the interaction. You're doing really well. You've got lots of time between now and paper 1. Thanks to Anne, thanks to Laura, and we will see you back here next week for a double session, Monday and Wednesday. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye. See you next week.